The Halo universe is filled with wonder, mystery, and fascinating discoveries around every corner. With so much to explore, four friends decided it was about time that they boot up their consoles and discuss this universe that has grabbed their attention since childhood. JumperScape Audio kindly welcomes you to join them in the library.
Welcome once again to The Library, the show where we talk about Halo lore, and this time it's not about humans because they don't matter today. Today we're talking about aliens because they matter more. So, today, the specific aliens we're talking about, because there's so many of them in the Halo universe, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, Timmy, but there are a lot of them. We're talking about, specifically, the Arbiters.
Well,
yay.
Much to the joy. You guys could you guys sound just like a little bit more excited?
well.
Could you tone it down a little bit?
Pick what you want, dude. Like,
so this is something that I have been excited to talk about for a while. I know I get excited about a lot of the topics, but this was one of the ones that I was looking forward to all the way back when we were starting out, just because the Arbiters are a fantastic topic. Plus, I understand that James gets the slightest bit excited to talk about anything relating to the Singhili. So
yeah, yes.
I wanted to help out.
Sometimes.
Maybe someday.
I should note, James, actually, it's something kind of that you should do. I'm gonna be going through, at the time of this recording, it is August 8th. I'm going through Halo Outcasts right now. Like, I just finished chapter 1 before we started today. And you're going to want to read it. Very much so, because it goes into more of, at the very least, I can tell you, it goes into more of what the Arbiter had to deal with while Cortana was in power. So, some pretty cool stuff in here. It's focused around him. So, yeah, if you want to borrow this book from me after I'm done.
So, stuff we should have seen in the game.
Guys, I'm trying to get on 343's good side. I don't want them to listen to the show and realize that we don't like it too much.
Clearly, they're not trying to get on your good side, so
they're really not.
They're trying a little too
I'm
hard to not.
I'm looking forward to meeting them when I go to the HCS.
Give
thing.
them
I always
my
love
worst
talking
regards.
with No, the employees are super chill is the thing. Like, they're actually really nice. That's the problem, is that, like, I think we're blaming the wrong people. There are employees that don't care about Halo as much as we would like them to, but it was all leadership and Microsoft. It was 343's leadership that had a very bad plan, and Microsoft didn't really understand what was going on. That's my best guess. That's my educated observation. Anyway, we're not talking about that. I played Halo Infinite today, and I had a good time. I enjoyed my time.
So let's not go down that rabbit hole.
I thought I actually did have a good time. I don't know what was different. It's just some of the gunplay felt different. Some of the maps. I mean, the maps were great because I was playing on squad battles. I think everybody's playing squad battle right now. Basically just BTB from the classic games, but with really really nicely made Forge remakes of older maps. I freaking love them. I was having a great time today. I usually come back only because I want the fancy event stuff done. I get all the events done just so I can have things to customize with. But I might actually log on more times than once this month for Halo Infinite. So we'll have to see what happens there.
Cannot relate.
You're more than welcome to join me. I did have a great time, considering that the modes were basically the same from Big Team Battle, but with fewer players. Thus, the sprees are more likely.
Yeah, I want to give it a try.
It's fun.
I want to come back to it.
Not likely. Yeah, I want to give it a try.
At least once.
So, we're going to be talking about the Arbiters today, though. And the way that this connects to the previous episode from last week is that it doesn't. I felt like talking about the Arbiters this week, and so this is what was on the schedule. Which, guys, we're actually getting pretty darn close to the end of our prearranged episodes. We currently have, like, from this episode going forward, we've only got 5 more, and then we're on to a week by week basis. Yeah.
Nate, time is flying.
It really is. I'm not personally
There for it.
looking forward to dealing with everything right now. I have the plans in motion to get this physical studio ready so we can all be in the same room and all record this show at the same time. I don't have to worry about audio quality. I don't have to worry about using AI to enhance audio like I mentioned last week. I don't have to do any of that. I can just make the show, make it happen, make it nice and purty, and then eventually we can make it a more consistent week to week thing. And you know what? I'll have fun having an excuse to have another excuse anyway to invite you guys over for a night or two. So, there are plans in motion, but that's what's going on. Also, it doesn't really connect to last week's topic of ODSTs, and I forgot that we did ODSTs last week. It wasn't AI. I skipped a week, so my bad. Just adjust whatever I just said about last week, quote unquote. But this is an important topic. It's something that I think every Halo fan should at least have a bottom line understanding of when it comes to the Arbiters, the significance behind such a title. Because, and James, of course, you can feel free to interrupt me or take over if you know what direction I'm going in at any time, since this is your domain.
Your mind is an enigma, so I'm not exactly sure what you're going to say, though I have a pretty good idea.
Yeah. The inner machinations of my mind are indeed an enigma. Am I allowed to make references to SpongeBob if I never watched it?
No.
Okay.
No,
I'm sorry.
definitely not.
We're very protective of our SpongeBob brand, and we don't want you to tarnish it.
You'll be hearing from our lawyers.
I wonder if it's worth watching as an adult.
It is. Up until 2010, it is.
I heard,
Watch anything 2000 from release until 2010.
I heard that the newer season was pretty all right.
I'm honestly shocked.
You were
they're
the
still
first human
going.
being that's probably ever said that.
It's just what I've heard. I didn't know.
They're making a good amount of money off of like callbacks to older episodes. There's so many references to older episodes these days. They made an episode tributed to the guy that always screams "my leg."
The my leg guy. I've seen that. Yeah.
A whole
there's a
episode
literal
related
episode.
to him.
Yes, the whole episode is just shit happening to his legs. It's funny, but you can tell that they were running out of ideas.
I mean, they're on what? I like season fucking like 18.
I don't know, man. I know the first few episodes were like in the late 90s, early 2000s. I'm pretty sure it was the late 90s.
It's insane, but
so yeah, back to the Arbiter.
Yeah. So anyway, Arbiter.
SpongeBob's greatest companion, Thel Vadam.
So the status of the Arbiter was
The artist formerly known as Thel Vadam.
Yes. We're going to be talking about all of them, just the title as a whole. So there will be some that I'm sure that you will be hearing for the first time, but I'm excited to tell you about them because they are all cool. So first and foremost, it should be noted that the Arbiter as a title was not originally a title of shame. The Arbiter as a title of shame was brought about by the Sanshayum, the prophets, as a means of controlling the Sangheili by tarnishing a title such as the Arbiter, which once carried a massive amount of power and weight among the Sangheili, as in basically the leader of sorts, a chosen warrior, really. By stripping that of its meaning and changing it to something else, the Sangheili basically lost faith in their former traditions and were much more keen on following what the Covenant was wanting to do. So they were willing to go along with it, unfortunately, but that didn't stop every Arbiter that has ever been from being super awesome. So to get things started, what I wanted to do was kind of go in chronological order of the Arbiters that we have seen. And some of them are a little bit iffy. It's pretty easy to tell when some of them are ancient or some of them are more recent, but sometimes their dates are a little bit difficult to pinpoint because they weren't specifically mentioned. So I'm going to just be doing this to the best of my ability, and going with going for the best on this one, because there's quite a bit to cover. So we'll see how this goes. So to get things started, what I figured that I would talk about is Mr. Ursu Labat. Ursu.
Yes, I know this name.
Ursu has only shown up in the Halo 2 terminals. He made a couple. I think he only actually made an appearance in the terminals. Basically, his whole thing was that it's not a whole lot. There's like a paragraph dedicated to him on every source that you find about him, and that's the difficult part. Is I just said that they're super cool.
Oh, this guy. Yeah, no, I remember. Honestly, I'm pretty sure there was there's like I forget how long the video is on YouTube, but there's like a extremely long, like, the history of, I think the video is titled The History of Halo. They give a pretty good discussion on this one. And he's like a very, very older, like, before, this was pre-Covenant, correct?
Yes, this was pre-Covenant.
Okay, right.
Many of these Arbiters will be about
seeing,
pre-Covenant.
Yep, I remember seeing, like, clips of him, like, rowing this big, badass, Viking-styled Sangheli ship on Sanghelios. Is that the same one, right? I think. I believe so.
This is sounding more familiar now.
Yes, there's a long video on YouTube called The History of Halo.
Beloved Arbiters, I'm just going to recognize them based off of their aesthetic, not really
I
their
recognize
name.
I recognize the armor on his picture, and I recognize the sick cape.
He's pretty darn cool. Now, the problem with Ursu, though, is that he ended up being a little bit of a tyrannical maniac. So, basically, other Sangheli sought to topple his rule, which this is actually addressed as well in the latest novel, Outcasts. But with Outcasts, they mention that part of Sangheli culture is if there is a leader that you don't agree with, well, you just gotta assassinate him. It's just the way it is. There's no conversation. You just fucking kill the guy,
take him out,
and take his and take over. This is the way it is. It's the tradition. And you know what? Based, I don't know. it's entertaining. It's fun to see that as being just a norm. I don't want that to be real, to be clear, but it's very cool to see.
I mean, I do in Minecraft.
In Minecraft,
only in Minecraft.
That's it. So the interesting thing, though, is that when he was overthrown, it was done by a brotherhood of Kydons, who are basically they are the leaders of their keep, like they're individual leaders of their keep for each keep. There's many Kydons, so many, and they're usually elected by their clans, like their elders. And when the Kydon is in charge, they are basically part of a council, and these Kydons can make decisions for the entirety of any of the participating clans, which there are many in the Sangheli culture. But this Brotherhood of Kydons, they were the first to adopt the name Swords of Sanghelios.
Oh, tell me what that entails.
What was that?
Cracked open
Baja
the coldest
Blast.
one. That was the crispiest cold one I've ever heard in my life. That actually made me want to go get a fucking Baja Blast.
It's a Baja Blast Zero.
Shout out Taco Bell. Give us free
Baja Blast Zero, low key, tastes exactly the same as Baja Blast, and I feel like I have unlocked a hack.
God, I want Taco Bell.
We can go after we're done here. I'll go with you. I'll go with you. I will go with you. I swear on my life, I'll go with you.
I don't doubt it. You don't have to swear on your life.
I don't think that was a groan of I don't believe you. It's a groan of, oh, I shouldn't do that.
Yeah, no, more or less.
That's a groan of I'm gonna do it.
I did good with my dieting today. I don't know if I want to.
I
really
had
don't.
roast beef, chicken,
You know,
pizza.
Okay, enough of SpongeBob, for the love of God. Enough of SpongeBob.
I actually had
had-
chimichangas and pizza. That was my lunch and dinner.
I had 9 pieces of sushi, a protein shake, veggie and fruit go-go squeeze that tasted like dog water, and then I had a Smart Water.
Go squeeze.
That's all I had today. And I'm like, that's honestly a good day. So I don't want to mess it up, but Baja Blast is calling my name. I want...
Well,
Okay,
to take your
focus,
mind off of it, I
focus.
got you. To take your mind off of it. Just briefly,
Okay.
the Swords of Helios, they were a faction. They're currently around. They are a faction that is currently being led by the current Arbiter.
If you haven't played Halo 5.
If you haven't played Halo 5. And the thing is, though, is that this wasn't the first time, obviously, that the Swords of Helios had made an appearance. Aside from when the Kaidons had overthrown that Arbiter, they had also shown up, once again coming back together to at least they attempted to prevent the Covenant's formation. Like, they tried to prevent the Sang Shayum and the Sang Heli from coming together. But when the Writ of Union was finished, which was that charter that was like, yes, you are giving your oath to the Covenant. When that was drafted between the Sang Shayum and the Sang Heli, Swords of Sang Helios couldn't do anything. So they were ultimately disbanded. Until, of course, the Covenant fell apart, and it was all from there. The Swords of Sang Helios worked for peace. They're now mostly just dealing with the created. So entertaining, very fun. Read Outcasts. We'll be talking about that again next week. The very important topics will be happening next week, so be there for
And I
that.
might check it out on Audible.
Ooh. So
They don't sponsor us. Let me get that clear.
They should. Audible give us free
They're beyond. Okay, Audible's beyond like media sponsorships at this point. They've gotten bigger than that. I don't think
Yeah.
I've seen a. This is brought to you by Audible on any YouTuber at all.
I haven't seen Jack's Films go.
I'm
Audible
trying.
stands for.
I'm trying for us, boys. I'm trying.
Listen, I am always. I'm in the
Every
same
time-
boat.
Every time we bring up a name brand, you bet your sweet ass I'm going to go into the mic and say, McDonald's, give us free like that. Every time we bring up a name brand.
Wait, Taco Bell.
Taco Bell, give us free
Right, I know you have the money.
give us a Battle Dudes lunchbox.
Oh, dude. I would love that. I've fought tooth and nail for that Taco Bell Xbox One X.
Oh my god.
It was so cool, dude. Anyway, holy moly, we're getting so off track already.
It's all part of the fun,
Oh goodness.
I mean,
Welcome to the library.
in the mission of trying to simulate what it's like being in a late night Xbox Live party chat with your friends, is this not accurate?
No, yeah.
So we move on to the next Arbiter on the timeline. I'm fairly certain is next on the timeline. You never know. I could be horribly wrong, but hey, I'm sure that somebody who knows better than me will correct me if I'm wrong. Mr. Jet Muti.
Like Muti sounds like
Muti.
dude. If there was a Sang Heli that just sounded straight Scottish, that's it.
I am the Arbiter of Jet Nick-Luty. Okay. Oh, any Scots listening to this, I'm so
you need
sorry.
to apologize. You need to.
I'd like to apologize.
I want to apologize.
I would like to apologize. What the hell is wrong with you? I would like to apologize. Jets McMutey.
Well, Jet
I like it, though.
McLuty. Yeah,
Okay, stop. We already apologized once. Stop.
I want to apologize.
There you go.
I'm allowed.
Shit.
My favorite Call of Duty YouTuber is Scottish. Shout
That
out Barley
doesn't mean
13.
anything. That doesn't mean you can criminally butcher the Scottish accent.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, man.
listen, Jet was around during the early days of the Covenant.
Jet.
Around like his whole thing was he was active around like 852 BC. That was when the Covenant was formed. But
humans were still clanging rocks and stuff. I think that's not true. There was empires and but you know what I'm saying.
Close enough.
In comparison to what they got going on, yes.
Yeah, might as well. It's a good thing. Sorry, this is at least somewhat off topic. Can you imagine if the Covenant like found humanity like in the late 90s or the early 2000s?
Dude, there would be so many really cool movies.
No, there wouldn't be any movies. Everything is glass.
Do you think they would still find us as sin against God if they found us in that state?
No, they definitely would. They definitely would find us as a sin.
They would take that event because I mean, the sheer existence of us at some point would contradict their religion. So I feel like they would probably get rid of us at like while we're at our most vulnerable. I definitely don't see it. I see a world where they're like, yeah, you know what? They're not a threat. We're just going to let them be. But I mean, if they let us be for so long till we get to the mid 25, 50 something, we would just like something would eventually happen and the events of Halo would not even transpire, or they would transpire a lot earlier. It just wouldn't be good. The Sangheili would have turned on the Covenant a lot quicker. But I definitely don't see a world where they're like, yeah, they're all right. We're just going to let them be. We'd probably be dead immediately, considering we're only on one planet. High Charity hovers above Earth. That's it. Game over. That's literally game over.
It's intense.
Yeah.
So with Jet, though, his thing, what he's known for, everybody knows what he did once you bring it up. This man was the one that was responsible for taming of the hunter worms. So what ended up going down was basically that the prophets had ordered the Sangheili to wipe out the Lekgolo. Because this Lekgolo they were around Forerunner relics. They were just like living in the remains of these stations and relics and such. These colonies were able to eat everything, basically, but they wouldn't touch the relics. So when they had ordered them to be wiped out, the Arbiter, Jet, went down, and for an entire year, he was on the surface of this moon learning about the Lekgolo, what makes them tick. And over time, he realized that, these things, when they're threatened, they turn into these giant hulking beasts. Like they can form together to form another creature, basically, that's a central mind. So recognizing that, he wanted to try to convince the prophets, hey, instead of trying to absolutely wipe them out like you always do, what if we try to convert them? And the prophets are like, this could be a sound strategy. And so they go along with it, and good news, the Lekgolo stay around, and now there's worms in the Covenant.
His armor is pretty, I mean, it looks like relatively like down to earth as far as the Arbiter's armor goes.
Yeah.
But I'm noticing like in these pictures of him when he's like running into Lekgolo, he's got like the breathing tubes on the side. Is that for the moon that he was on?
Yeah.
I'm assuming that it was like, which it's just wild because like in Halo, you never like think other than space, like everyone can just kind of breathe anywhere. It doesn't matter. It's just so wild to see someone like, oh yeah, I actually need to have some type of oxygen support because it's too harsh here.
Yeah.
Out of all the vastness of the Halo universe, all the games, you never see anyone who's just like, yep, you need breathing support unless you're in outer space. So I just think that's cool that he's got a unique little armor piece on him to his armor.
The only times that we've ever really seen that stuff, we've seen it in Halo 2 where they needed to have breathing apparatuses for the fact that they were working in a gas giant.
Right.
In Nightfall, they had to use air filtration systems to give them fresh air because this piece of the Halo ring is just not good for humans to breathe. And then there's many times, let's say in like novels, where you get someone that can't breathe or something like that. But like it's more just you don't notice it as much, especially in games, just because you don't question it too much because you're a Spartan wearing full armor that can be in pretty much any atmosphere. So that's the kicker there, is that even if we were presented with that sort of stuff, we likely wouldn't even notice unless there were Marines around us not wearing breathing apparatuses. Then we would just be confused. But we in the universe where we have Spartans and ODSTs straight up kicking themselves out into space so that they can flank insurrectionists, which happens in a novel, and it's very awesome because they basically just it's so cool. They get detonated out into space and they swing back around and land back in the station. It's so cool. Anyway, yeah, that stuff can happen, but you're right, we don't really get a whole lot of it. And I guess that just kind of lends itself more towards the whole fantasy side than it is sci-fi, but it is still sci-fi at heart. If anything, I think it's better to just say that it's a space opera more than anything else. So the next one that we're looking at here, Heki Jibbity Hibbity.
Wait, pardon me?
Heki Gibbity.
I'm just trying to find him on here, and here we go. Arbiter Heki Jibbity.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Gibbity.
Great pronunciations, Austin.
I'm gonna say it's Gibbity. I just like the idea.
He's
of
very.
Gibbity.
His armor is very Halo 5-esque.
Yes, it is slightly golden
it's
tinted,
clean.
but it still looks like Halo 2, which I appreciate. So
it gets a nice mixture of the two. It looks clean.
So this guy, what he's known for is he's the one that was the guy who stopped the Ungoy rebellion. He's the one that made sure that the slaves stopped acting up.
The video on the same video that I mentioned earlier, the history of Halo, also touches on the Ungoy rebellion, is actually very, very sad. The story of the grunts in general is just devastating. You cannot blame the little fuckers for doing what they had to do. but I remember after I should say, they started they earned the Sangheli's respect, including the Arbiter at the time. I remember that very, very well. Didn't they poison their methane tanks or something like that, so they couldn't?
The Jackals thought it would be a really funny prank to basically try and end the Ungoy population by sterilizing all of them,
thus ending the rebellion. Though
no, this is before the rebellion. This is why they rebelled.
Oh my god! No, you're right. You're right. Oh my god!
It was called
High Charity was just basically like, those goofy jackals.
It's oftentimes referred to as the infusion incident.
Oh my god, that's so terrible.
Where were you when the infusion incident happened?
Didn't this Arbiter order the glassing of the Ungoy homeworld, or was that the Prophets?
That was this Arbiter. He was basically he realized that his tactics weren't working because the Ungoy, there was just thousands and thousands and thousands of them. So he realized that he had to go to the next best plan. Just spawn kill them. So he went to their homeworld and just started glassing it. Yeah, he just started glassing it.
So anyway, I started glassing. God, it's so fucking terrible.
And so the Ungoy, realizing that they don't want the entirety of their planet glassed because it's not completely destroyed, it's just mostly destroyed. They decided to resubmit, and the only thing that really came out of it that was good was that now the grunts were
respected.
No. That didn't happen. They were given weapons and now could fight alongside Sangheli.
So before they were just a worker class.
Yeah. So that's pretty much you could say that was a benefit, but still a little rough. So next, we talk about Vima Togad. Now, I know very little about this one, but he shows up in the terminals. He also, I suppose, makes an appearance somewhere in Broken Circle, which I haven't read. I really want to. But he's the one that got the energy sword named after him, the Prophet's Bane. So he's pretty darn cool.
Hey there, Halo fans. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with our friends right after these messages.
His story is so cool. I don't want to try to summarize it. I just have his article pulled up so I can read it directly because it's just so good. It's poetic almost. So In 938 BCE, the reformist Sanshayum landed on the Sanghili frontier world of Ulgethan and sent a delegation to meet with Arbiter Vema Togad. Due to the reformists' view that Forerunner technology should be used and studied, a notion that was considered blasphemous by the Sanghili, Togad used his sword to behead the members of the delegation. When the Sanshayum discovered this, a war between the two species broke out. The war would eventually lead to the signing of the Writ of Union. So I have this out of order, obviously, but I wanted to read it anyway because I missed it. Basically, this was the Arbiter that caused the Covenant.
Whoopsie.
Yes. So that's pretty entertaining. Good times. After what happened with the Covenant, after it was all broken apart, there was a scribe with the Sanshayum who specifically mentioned him as the one who instigated the War of Beginnings quote. So yeah, that part is the interesting part, is that, you know, we have arbiters that are doing really cool things, and they are indeed just very impressive as a title that carries on into greater and greater characters. But they started out with some pretty not great guys taking the helm.
It's almost as if we're talking about a warrior culture that more cares about victory than, you know, morality.
Yeah, and then, you know, morality started to become a problem, and thus it was turned into a mark of shame. Oh no. But now we talk about, I think I see him as my favorite arbiter. I have to go this far. Thel Vadam. Thel Vadam was, I mean, his nickname, Defiant One, puts it lightly. James, do you remember the episode of Halo Legends, The Duel?
Oh yeah.
Him.
Oh, okay. I didn't know his name, and I was wondering when we would get to him.
Yes.
You know, shit is real when all you have to say him. Oh, that guy.
You know, he's
him.
really cool. It's too bad that the whole entire short looks like mashed potatoes.
I think it was
his
supposed
wife
to
gives me nightmares.
I think it was supposed to be Japanese
It's
watercolor.
supposed to look like a Japanese watercolor, and it works. There are some beautiful shots in it. In other places, however.
Yeah. So, yes, for those of you who don't know, first of all, go watch The Duel. You're missing out on so much, and you are literally 5 episodes away from getting our Halo Legends coverage. So we're gonna need you to watch that, because if you haven't, that's gonna be a real big damper on my whole plan here. So just go watch it. It's literally on YouTube for free.
Honestly, here's the thing. I'm not supposed to work tomorrow. I'm just sure I'm getting called in. I might say no. I had plans, and then maybe we could all, you know, make sure we watch Halo Legends together in preparation for that.
I'm totally down for that.
I mean, yeah, just definitely just say no.
I
have
watch
plans.
it.
I can't do it.
I watch
It can't be
it
done.
on an annual basis. I haven't watched it this year yet, so yeah, I'll bring over my Blu-ray version and we can watch it together.
It has to be done.
Gotta be done. Has to be done.
It has to be done.
So Mr. Shavami here, basically he believed that the Great Journey was false. I know, astounding. How could anybody think that? Like, there's no.
How could the Covenant
there's
lie?
literally no evidence to back that up.
Wait,
Why
repeat
would the
that?
Covenant ever lie?
They wouldn't. Why? Like, they have no reason to. Clearly. So anyway, he was.
I like that you laughed like a rich billionaire evil man in a movie. Please stop.
I hated that
I'm
so
sorry.
fucking much.
So, I should just go into acting. I could pull this off. So, Arbiter, Mr. Arbiter, Shevami, he refused to accept that the Great Journey was true, even when he was confronted by a high prophet, specifically the high prophet of Solomon. yeah, he still, to his face, was like, no, this is not happening. I cannot sign off on this. I don't believe it can't be that way, because basically he had seen that the Sangheili had strayed away from a sense of honor, and now we're just all they cared about was power. And so with honor now leaving the whole picture, he was left to think like, no, there's no way that this great journey could be real. If the great journey is supposed to be the honorable way out, how could that be the honorable way out when we have forgotten what honor actually is? So the hierarch declared him a heretic, and upon that being the case, another Sangheili named Haka Saraki, or Sukari, my bad, he was ordered with the kill order. He was tasked with killing this arbiter. So he had tried to take out Shavami with assassins. That didn't go very well at all. It sent a huge battalion of Covenant forces, and Shavami didn't give a single f***. He slaughtered all of them.
So he was the first arbiter to kind of make the ranking of arbiter being like, yeah, you're being shamed. He was the first one.
He was the one who made the prophets make it a shame.
Make it a shame, right? I know beforehand it was like it was a good
you're
thing.
Gonna be like this guy,
right?
The one who betrayed everybody.
Yeah,
he's so evil.
Yeah.
Yes.
After that, they're all just sent on suicide missions to practically die in a blaze of glory, supposedly.
Yes. So basically, during this whole thing, though, the unfortunate thing is that while Shavami was going off on the Covenant, it was enough to distract him from his other duties. So everyone in his clan, including his wife, were killed. This assassin, Sukari, he had these assassins go and basically just kill all of his clansmen, and then visited the home of this arbiter's wife.
He had over 5 million power in fucking Rise of Kingdoms, didn't he?
No, 6 million.
Damn.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
He pulled up to this dude's wife's dude's house, and
you can't stop me, Arbiter. I have over 5 million power in Rise of Kingdom. Not sponsored, but please sponsor.
Not sponsored. Shane,
Rise of Kingdom, give us free shit.
I actually don't care about your free shit, but
no,
it'd be
I'll
good.
take any free shit you're willing
Just give
to
me money. Just give me money.
You can give me free shit. You don't got to give James anything.
I would love it if one day there's just a random executive that actually does listen to these episodes, like, we should sponsor these guys. Anyway, after this happened, Shavami confronted Sukari at the top of a Forerunner structure. It was not a very long duel, but both of them died during the battle. Shavami was brutally slashed. There was a clean cut straight through his abdomen, and Sukari got a stab to the chest. Sukari died pretty much immediately after the stab. Shavami, he just bled out. So after this complete massacre where a whole Covenant battalion gets killed, an entire clan gets wiped out, and no one survives, the outcome is the Arbiter has been taken from a rank of privilege and honor and strength, and now it is declared that if you have this rank of Arbiter, you have no honor. There's nothing that you can do. The only option that you have now is to take the mantle of Arbiter, do these impossible tasks, and if you manage to do them, that's great, but you will not regain your honor until you die. So that was unfortunate. Moving on to I would say a lot of people would probably call this one the coolest Arbiter. In many ways, I agree. We move on to Ripa Morimi.
Mr. Slackjaw himself.
Yeah,
Oh,
this dude
boy.
just stands around with his mandibles just hanging. Doesn't.
Yeah, he's creepy as shit. I don't like him. He's creepy
He's
looking.
intimidating.
I don't like
horribly.
him. I don't
care
like
not
him.
for your little life. Open
Yeah, his
the
voice
relic.
alone.
I love him. He's awesome. He's super dope. Now, Ripa's title, everyone has a title, of course, The Savage, which checks out. This dude had kind of a concerning level of passion for warfare. He cared about victory. He cared about displays of strength. He didn't care so much about being thoughtful and honorable. He just wanted ruthlessness based. So, Ripa, his task, basically, what we know of him, because we do have a little bit of him thanks to some comics that we have that tell his story. I don't know everything about him because I had no idea until recently that he had a backstory. I don't know everything about what happened to him, but basically what ended up happening was he had, in the early days, it was like 2478, he had overthrown his Kaidon, which we had already explained. Kaidons are these leaders, so he overthrew his Kaidon, and at least he tried. He didn't actually do it. He tried. When it failed, he was captured by these forces from the Kaidon and brought to the Covenant court. Because he had attempted to overthrow this Kaidon, the Covenant gave him the title of Arbiter. Basically, he tried to escape this imprisonment every now and then, and it didn't work out very well. And eventually, it would be the Prophet of Regret that would give him this title. So after that takes place, the next time we see him is off in Harvest, Halo Wars. That's the Arbiter from Wars, for anybody who didn't recognize him by name or how we've been talking about him so far. So when he was given this title, he immediately he took it in stride. He was more brutal, and I think that might have been more of a reflection of the fact that this was early in the war and there was nothing but hatred for these humans. There was no understanding of what they were or what they were trying to do. That's just the way that it was.
Basically, just bugs.
Yeah.
Insects in their way.
Yes. So this guy is huge. First of all, he's a very big Sangheili. He was known for carrying around 2 energy swords at all times. He was also known for being up close and personal at all times. He didn't really like to fight from a distance. He'd prefer to be up close and in the fight. Skipping through the entirety of the Halo Wars story, because that's just go play Halo Wars. I'm not going to summarize that for you. The Spirit of Fire up against the Covenant. The Spirit of Fire wins. That's just the way that it is. But Ripa is famous for another thing. He's the first and only Arbiter to die by a normal human's hand.
Yeah, he died for someone who is with the background he has and his size, and the dude dual wields energy swords, for fuck's sake. He dies in the most bitch-made way, but at the end of the day, it's like his, I want to say ego is what got him killed. But he was playing around with him at the end of Halo Wars. He wasn't he could have got it over with, and it felt like he was just toying with him rather than just getting it over with.
The thing is, it was hubris. It was the same thing that kind of undermined his goals with the Kaidon. He was so confident in himself that it
was his downfall.
He couldn't let himself think straight. So
Right.
He was just so excited to finish off this human that had caused him so much pain and struggle trying to get him in the first place. He slipped up, knife to the mandible.
Yeah, he was messing around with the wrong Marine, and it just didn't go well.
Oh, it should be noted that Forge's knife has a name, and it's Lucy.
That's so hot.
It was a great scene. It is great, but he is, and I should have prefaced or corrected myself. Not that he's the only Arbiter to ever been killed by a normal human. He's the only Arbiter to have ever been killed by a human. Ever. No one has ever managed or even been interested really in killing an Arbiter.
It's just so insane. Someone with his stature, just off like, I mean, it's poetic justice. It makes sense the way he died. It does make sense. It's wild to think that just some average. I mean, Forge is badass. Don't get me wrong. But it's, I mean, you stack
just
them,
a dude.
Right?
He's a guy.
You stack him
a
up
very
against
skilled guy, but still just a guy.
You stack him up against an 8'1" monster dual wielding energy swords with shields, and he still wins. That's fucking ludicrous.
Well, with him covered, we are now on to everyone knows this guy, Thel Vadam.
Woo! That's why he's the GOAT. The GOAT.
So, Thel Vadam, formerly Thel Vadam. So, I'm going to briefly go over what his history is, and then we'll go into what he's up to now as more of an important topic. Basically, born to the house of Vadam, very powerful state on Sankhelios. When he joins the Covenant military, he's given the E suffix. That's just how it goes. You get an E suffix. And basically, through his career in the Covenant, starting out with his earliest tasks being with what happened at the Rebel, where he had to basically figure out what was going on with the Kig-Yar and the humans, all the way up until he became a supreme commander of the Fleet of Particular Justice, which is a very high rank. Which is the
best name ever.
Yeah.
Best name for a fleet. God, it's just
it's so good.
It's so wonderful.
He's such a well-written character, background, name, design, like character design. He's just such a great fucking character, and I love everything about it.
Honestly, like, if you want a good kind of digestible version of his backstory, the lead up for Halo 2 anniversary, there's Agent Locke doing a dossier on
It's such
Thel.
a good cutscene. It is such
so
a
good.
great fucking cutscene that leads up to such a complete show. I can't stand it. It was so
that's
good.
a good cutscene. But I'm talking about it was a video where basically Agent Locke's just talking about the Arbiter's whole history, and then at the end he's like, "I recommend immediate termination."
Oh,
oh.
Alrighty.
What a twist.
I know. Oh, goodness.
I don't recall if this dossier was supposed to be before or after they became allies. And I wish the answer I could just say that, well, it's obvious, but it's not.
It's not. Nothing about Halo lore is obvious. There's a lot of reading books.
I was just saying Agent Locke's an asshole, so I mean he and also Oni. So it could have easily been,
I wish Agent Locke had an opportunity to redeem himself in a mainline Halo game.
All right, so you guys want to know? Have you guys ever known what Thel's kill count is?
Very high. It's million. It's in the millions.
No, it's not.
Billions.
It's
in the billions.
Yes.
I was saying, it's not in the 100,000.
I mean, he himself, I know, obviously didn't, but he ordered the glassing of planets. I mean, Reach. Didn't he lead the attack on Reach?
Yep. Well, the second attack.
Yes, the second one. He wasn't the first fleet that showed up.
Right.
So this is you ready for
over there? Cool.
You ready for his stats?
Oh, go ahead.
All right. Over a billion human casualties over the course of his tenure, and only 23,000 of them were military.
God damn it. Stop it. I mean, he's such a likable character. So wait. So here's the thing. In Reach, he was the second fleet. So was he the fleet after George went kaboom and slip space structure detected?
Yes.
Oh God, that's so chilling to know that's his fleet. Oh God, that's so much worse.
Yeah, he pulled up and was like,
"That's so much
You
worse.
poked the hive.
Oh no, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was his fucking fleet. That makes it so much worse.
Yep.
That's so scary.
Yeah, it was it was quite literally the peak of his career. He basically, like, he had taken out Reach. Like, he left behind some of his forces to finish off the planet, but the rest of them went after the Pillar of Autumn. Which, to top off his stats real quick, the planets that he has glassed, I'm sure there was more than this, but notable ones were Bounty, Alluvian, Mesa, Grey Downs, Crotus 2, and Estuary. Now, the most interesting thing, 123 UNSC ships were destroyed by him, and Oni Section 3, you know, the ones that we've been scared about this entire time because they're the ones with the Black Ops unit that do terrible things to people. They've attempted to kill him many times, but every time they've failed, resulting in all of the operatives dying.
Well, my favorite story of Thel Vadam is the story of him and his elites breaching into a room of humans, all not even in their uniforms or armed yet.
This is a good
And
story.
he stopped them from getting massacred, let them at least arm up and get ready, and then they just,
Mop
wipe the floor of them anyway.
Yes, the most Giga Chad move of all time is letting your opponent prep. Letting them prep, giving them a head start. Imagine what those soldiers felt with him just sitting there watching while they get their armor on. Like, they know they're gonna die. There's no
Cue
way.
up Can You Feel My Heart? Because this is a Giga Chad moment.
Oh my god, it's just like that. That's just horrifying. Letting your opponent
Can we
get
get a
ready
Chad
to fight
portrait of the Arbiter in the chat?
is the biggest
Of this
alpha move.
non-live product.
It is such an alpha move. It's insane.
So good. So, yes, after that all happens, he goes after the Pillar of Autumn, who is fleeing. And the Pillar of Autumn stumbles upon something kind of odd. It looks like a hoop or like a loop of some kind. It's weird.
And guess who was blinded by their majesty?
Blinded?
Dumbstruck?
God, stop it.
My favorite Halo YTP I've ever seen included the line, "When you first saw Halo, were you blinded by its majesty? Blinded? Paralyzed? You dumb So, little thing, little wrong thing happened there. So that's a Halo ring. Very big importance to the Covenant. That's straight up like a massive creation of the Forerunners. They kind of worship the Forerunners. And this little green dude blows it up completely.
May or may not know him. Just a
Some
side
little
character in the
demon.
Halo. Yep.
Yeah, just a demon.
Little side character in the Halo story. No
And
big deal.
So, right, back
Probably
to
not someone the Covenant hates so much that they have a nickname for him.
yes,
That is Demon.
Yep, just
Yeah.
called him a demon.
yeah. Okay, back to the main character. So,
It's just because he's so good at it.
All right,
So
He's
what-
a demon at blowing up holy relics.
now, when this Halo gets destroyed, the prophets are like, bro. And despite the fact that Thel had been very successful up until this point, extremely successful even, they still shunned him, punished him, stripped him of his honor, and gave him the title of Arbiter.
No, the bank is closed.
The bank is closed. Let me get my money.
No, the bank is
So-
closed.
Arbiter
They
from then
paying
on.
you.
We gotta watch that
I need to
too.
rewatch
Yeah,
that.
We
we
should
gotta
watch that
watch it.
tomorrow after
We
Halo
gotta
Legends.
watch it. We
After
gotta
Halo
watch it.
Legends.
Yes.
They ain't paying
They ain't paying you.
Halo dubs
You
by
just
To
watch
Spearhead. Look it up, everybody.
How can someone named Truth be such a bullshitter?
I'm gonna have to, dude. There are like 15
Oh, God.
markers on this episode so far. So now, who we just call the Arbiter. Everybody just calls him the Arbiter these days. The Arbiter is given a task to stop a heretic leader. That doesn't go so well. The heretic leader basically tells him, "Hey, everything you know is a lie. And the Arbiter goes through a serious, like, there's a lot of, could you say disenfranchisement? Is that a good word for it?
Sure.
It goes through a lot because he realizes everything that he had believed up until this point, everything that he had been
disillusionment, I'd say would be better.
Disillusion, thank you. That's a much better word.
I feel like disenfranchised feels like it comes after.
Yes, thank you. That makes a lot more sense. I appreciate it. So he gets just straight disillusionment. He's told exactly that everything that he has known up until this point is wrong, and
that he's a fucking idiot.
And because of this, he turns on the Covenant, works alongside the Sangheli, and eventually works alongside the humans to take down the Covenant in one final battle on the Ark, alongside the demon, the Master Chief, John Spartan 117.
Who's that?
Oh, he's a side character. He's only in Halo 3.
Got it.
Oh, wait, what? What you had me to that last part.
I mean, like, here's the thing. I'd argue that the Arbiter is the main character of Halo 2.
Oh, he is. Totally.
Chief is just there to have the cool action movie moments.
So for now, we're getting close to the end of the episode, so I'm just gonna wrap up the information here.
Because I feel like Thel could get his own episode.
Oh, easily. So
it should.
We should. That's a good idea. That's a great idea. Write that down. I
don't think it's something we have to write down. It's pretty easy to remember.
Remember what?
Uh-oh.
This guy's a fucking idiot.
Anyway, so Arbiter, after the collapse of the Covenant, ends up reforming the Swords of Sanghelios and is attempting to reunite Sanghelios underneath his umbrella. It's going okay. Could be going better. And most recently, you're going to need to read Outcast to find out, but he's going up against Cortana and her created. And there's going to be a whole lot of interesting things happening since he was not very excited when he had heard that the brute homeworld had been destroyed by Cortana. So.
Oh, you think he'd be like, oh, based.
No, what he's seeing is Cortana just destroyed Atriox's homeworld because he didn't listen. What would she do to Sanghelios?
Yeah, that's a pretty fair concern.
He has, because that's the thing. The one thing he's trying to figure out right now is how do you take down a Guardian? And as far as I can tell from chapter 1, his solution is uniting the galaxy's colonies, all of the species.
That would have been really cool if we got to do this.
Right? Anyway, before we get into that,
I'm sorry. Like, here's the thing. Okay, quick tangent. I'm probably the only human in the world who thought this beforehand. I was excited to see, even though I thought Halo 5's story was very fucking dumb, I still thought the world building was interesting, and where the state of the galaxy was actually really effective and kind of horrifying. And I was excited to see how that played out. And then they just said, we fixed it. Here is something else.
Here's the thing. The scene, the part in Halo 5 where you're walking through the Swords of Sanghelios camp and like you're seeing Grunts, Kig-Yar fighting along the Sangheli and talking to each other. I thought that was cool. And it sucks that we didn't get more of an interaction with them. I'm sure it's coming at some point. Maybe.
I'm honestly more upset with the same thing that James said, because it is really bothersome that the only way that we got to experience the created and their reign, which was for a while, that was a few years that they were in charge, was through books. Don't get me wrong, they're great books. They're fantastic stories. But for anyone who doesn't read the books, which is a lot of them, a lot of players,
maybe
they're going to jump from Halo 5 to Halo Infinite and be like, wait, what?
Here's the thing, since I'm a decently like educated Halo fan, like I know what happened. I mean, I know the context. Like there was a time jump, and I don't know like the insane details that are in the book, but like I understand what happened going into Halo Infinite from Halo 5. I understand it. I do. But I'd rather be educated on this kind of stuff by being able to play the game. Like that, I just, at that point, just put it in the game. I'd rather just play it. I really would. I think most of us would as well. Especially if Halo's demographic, at this point, are older-ish, I guess, because like a lot of the fans that are sticking around were kids when the games were insanely popular. So it's just like I feel like everyone would appreciate just being able to play a lot of the missions, or you're like, oh my god, there's just so much to unpack. It's off topic. I'll stop there.
No, it's all fine.
Guess who had an Audible credit left over, and guess who got Halo Outcast, and guess who's gonna start listening? Me.
I'm gonna keep
give
on.
us free shit.
I'm gonna keep on listening to it, so then you and I can keep up together. We can talk about it, James. So. Yeah, no, the tangents here at the end of the episodes are always fine. At the beginning and the ends are always the, we'll talk about whatever. The middle is for the episode. Everybody knows how this goes by this point. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're a new listener. Welcome to the show, dude. I'm so glad that you're here. It's so great to have you around. You're just a nice person to be around. You know that? I'm sure that everybody tells you that all the time. If they don't, they're just keeping it to themselves. They just... Anyway, thank you so much for listening. If you want to catch us next week, then just tune back in next week. It's not that hard. Next week, we're going to be talking about The Created because it's on topic. It makes sense. And there's actually quite a bit to unpack. We won't be able to get all of it because it's still technically unfolding. But
that will be a frustrating episode.
Yes. But we'll still have some fun with it because we're going to be talking about Outcasts a little bit more. And more importantly, we're going to be announcing a new thing that is going to be happening in the JumperScape Discord shortly after that episode's release. So feel free to tune in so you get that announcement because you don't want to miss it. And we will see you guys next week. But first, don't go. Don't leave. What I saw you reaching for your phone. Stop it. Discord.gg/JumperScape. You can join our community. You can talk with the rest of us. You can hang out with us. You can actually be around your friends for real. Or if you want to support us, if you want to make this show easier to make, because it's not, you can go to patreon.com/JumperScape. Early bird specials are still open. No one's grabbed it yet. Grab it. It's available. It's open to you. Feel free to take the advantage. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
The library was produced and published by JumperScape Audio. Funding was provided by our fantastic patrons on Patreon. If you enjoy the show and wish to support JumperScape's future projects or get some sweet benefits, join our Patreon at patreon.com/JumperScape or become part of this truly special community at discord.gg/JumperScape. Thank you for your listenership, and we hope you enjoyed.